And how's it going, everybody? This is Horror Spoop. I am Eric Lewis. Today we have DJ O'Connor, who is the storyboard artist and also the designer for My Special Boy. And also, I just talked to Morgan Silva, and you're also doing Charles as well.
Yes,
So
sir.
before we get into other questions about My Special Boy, you personally, are you a Child's Play fan more, or are you a Friday the 13th fan more?
Ooh, oh man. If I honestly had to choose like one franchise, I'd probably go with Nightmare on Elm Street. But if comparing those two, I definitely lean a little bit more towards Chucky.
Okay,
Chucky's my
I
boy.
gotcha. Nightmare on Elm Street. What about Nightmare on Elm Street just makes you like it more?
Oh man, Freddy's just so cool. Freddy is just such a unique character, and and it's also the reason why I like Chucky a lot too. Is that like they're funny, and I think that's more terrifying that like they're fun and they're funny because like they're enjoying doing this. With Jason and Michael, it's just kind of like a job to them. But
Yeah.
when like you get Freddy and Chucky, they like doing it, and that's
Okay.
creepy.
So the lack of emotion is something that is not as creepy to you.
I think it depends. Like for instance, with Jason, it's I think the fun thing about Jason, the thing that I like about Jason, is the over the topness. Like my favorite Jason movie is Jason X. So
Heck yeah. Heck
I
yeah.
love, I love, I love when they just go full send with him. I love
I
it, and it's
love
like the
that.
same reason I love Victor Crowley. But
Yeah.
it's with like Michael, it's terrifying because so little is known about him,
Yeah, that's
and so
true.
like don't know why he's doing this. Like
Yeah.
with Jason, it's like, oh, it's like a kind of a revenge thing,
I'm
kind
assuming.
of, yeah, like right. I assume it's
Yeah.
kind of like that, or like
It's
just
kind
like
of
it's something.
hearsay from camp counselors of what
Yeah,
the problem is.
no,
But yeah, absolutely. I actually love that idea. It's Michael Myers. He was a little too young, and then spent the rest of his life, God knows what. We thought making a series until 2018 said none of that existed.
yeah. Which
So,
I love that one too. I love that reboot.
oh yeah, I was very excited for it. But I am actually a fan of like Rob Zombie's Halloween's, all
Me
all
too.
of that.
Yeah,
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Rob Zombie in general. I just
I dig
like the
him.
type of stuff he does.
Rob Zombie actually, like House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects were kind of like my intro into horror. They weren't my first horror movies, but those were kind of what like got the gears turning for me. I remember
Heck
I
yeah.
credit Sid Haig so much for why I love horror. Like that man had such a big impact on me,
Man,
and I was
that's
devastated when he died. So
that's very true.
yeah,
Rest in peace to that guy.
for real.
Uh, Now, storyboard artist.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for sounding ignorant, but I really don't know what all that ensues. So, can you just
Yeah.
give me a small rundown of what exactly you're doing?
No, honestly, like you don't sound ignorant at all. Like it's one of those things that like not a lot of people know because it's like in most major filmmaking, storyboard artist is just like that one of those credits that you don't really know because it's not quite the director, it's not quite the actor, or like the stunt people. It's just kind of like in essence what we do is basically we'll read the script and we'll meet with the director. We'll get kind of a feel for what they want out of the script and what they want the movie to look like. And our job is to kind of lay that out for them. So we physically draw it almost like a comic book in some ways, which harks back to like my origins with art. But it's very much so we provide that first kind of visual guide to what the movie might look like, and it allows the director to be like, all right, this shot's going to work this way, this shot might not work that way, so I need to retool how I do that. And it's just kind of like the pre movie. So like if you buy like Disney movies and you look at the special features, I do because I'm a nerd, but
Absolutely. No, that's awesome.
but like you'll see like deleted scenes from animated movies, and there are these rough sketches that are just very stagnant, and you won't see like this full animation. Those are actually the storyboards. That's what's called an animatic, which basically for animation you put it all together in like a short rough animation, and that kind of plays out how the movie is going to look. But
Oh,
yeah, that's what
that's
storyboard
perfect.
artist.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's a lot
Uh,
of fun.
Now, director is James Grimm. Have you ever worked?
For a minute.
Oh, we got it.
Oh yeah. Uh,
So the director, James Grimm, have you worked with him before? Is there any other films?
no, so this is actually the first time I've worked with James. I have worked with Mike Chabante and Morgan before on Charles.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, no, I remember reaching out to Morgan when I found out she was involved with this, and just saying like, hey, do they need a storyboard artist? Like, I'm still looking for a couple things to get my feet wet. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. No, that's exactly what I'm doing here. Like I love horror. I'm kind of a recluse. I love horror movies and I love doing that, but I also love the coexistence of talking about horror movies.
yeah,
I find that to be just one strong place where I love talking with people about it. So it's me saying I would rather stay in my house, but I would like to have friends while I'm doing it.
yeah,
And that's kind of how I feel about it. Uh, this movie is pretty awesome in a time where fan films is actually becoming kind of a thing,
yeah.
and people are really enjoying it. What is it? Never Hike Alone came out, and then people started like actually paying attention more and more to fan films. With me, I've always enjoyed fan films just because I'm a person that can't get enough of it. I'm a slasher fan, so a lot of fan films are slasher just because it can be so practical to make this,
Yeah.
and there's just to me that was like the first, I guess, subgenre of horror that I started getting into was slashers. So that's just something that's always touched my heart, which is why I'll always watch fan films of slasher movies. I love it. Now, the release date for this is in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any kind of date that's coming with that, or we don't know yet?
Yeah, so to my knowledge, there's no set date.
Okay.
Yeah, so to my knowledge, no. I'm still kind of new to the team,
Perfect.
but I have begun work on a couple things for it.
Awesome.
Which
Awesome.
is
So as
cool.
far as we know, between January and December of 2021,
Sounds
we'll
good.
have
Yeah,
it. We'll have it somewhere around there. I gotcha.
somewhere there. I think that's a fair time frame.
That's awesome. I love that. Now, is there any? Do you have a list of locations for this movie, or is this just one specific city or town or anything? Can you even share that at this moment?
So that's actually something that I don't know. That would probably fall under like the director.
Perfect.
Because like where my wheelhouse is basically translating the script.
Okay.
So any place that like any location that they'd be shooting is going to come off,
Okay.
of my
Just
head
come straight
for
from
the
them.
storyboards.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Now the trailer. So you pretty much had all to do with the trailer of. Did you make the idea of like the trailer of a dude next to the fire talking about the legend? Because I thought that was actually one of the coolest trailers, especially when they asked if he believed it and he was like, no.
Yeah,
I thought that was just awesome. It was a great part to put in the trailer.
yeah, no,
Um,
that was a really really cool trailer to be honest. I got signed, or like not, I shouldn't say signed, but I got attached to the project shortly after.
okay,
Not the
perfect.
trailer premiered, but like right as the trailer was about to premiere.
Okay.
I wish I got to storyboard that would have been
No,
fun.
that's awesome. No, that's awesome. Like with me, the trailer, one thing about Jason that I liked is in the trailer, he actually runs towards somebody.
Yeah,
And he was always that way in like the original series, is he kind of galloped. I would say galloped.
yeah.
It's a kind of a weird one just because his body's breaking down from inside him.
Mhm.
But he kind of was faster, and I really love that. Michael Myers is more the slow person that it doesn't matter how fast you run, he walks quicker.
That's true.
Uh, yeah,
Finds a
but
way.
with Jason, you kind of see parts in the series before where he kind of runs after people. Um, Again, not too well, but it's enough that to me that seems more scary. Michael Myers walking in real life, him showing up, that would be scary because I knew he walked. But
Yeah,
watching it as sometimes a person watching a film, I don't really find it that freaky. But with Jason, I just think he's just intimidating enough that his running really freaks me out personally.
Absolutely.
So I was very excited about that. And is there uh, is there like a campground that there's an idea for, or is this going to be like an open field that we kind of make look like a campground? Is there any talk about if there's like actually a campground involved or just anything like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume that they're going to shoot at a campground because
Okay.
they would need cabins and such. But
Yeah.
I don't 100% know. But man, like I can't wait. And like to go off of what you were saying about Jason running, that
Yeah.
takes me back to Derek Mears in the remake, and
Mhm.
just how that opening shot where he chased down at the camera.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was freaky as hell. And what I thought was really cool about the teaser trailer, if you notice how he walks and how he runs,
Uh-huh.
it's almost a little uncoordinated, and that
Yeah.
kind of plays into the whole like childlike aspect of Jason,
Okay.
where like he never fully got to grow up in a
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really cool kind of spin on Jason, if you think about it. Like it's kind of creepy too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we kind of, which I would like to actually know your theory about. Did Jason die as a boy? Did he grow up living in the woods? I kind of want to know theories from people what you think, because
Huh.
how did he get so old? Did he keep his childlike mind? Um, when did he start decomposing? That's pretty much. Is it
Yeah,
really?
so for me, Jason died in part 4.
Okay.
And then because like part 5 it wasn't actually Jason, it
Yeah.
was like the imposter Jason. And then part 6 he gets resurrected by Tommy Jarvis,
Yeah.
which is cool. I just watched that the other day. So
Awesome.
it's fresh
Tommy
in my
Jarvis
head.
is actually a good part of Friday the
Oh,
13th.
he's so good. He's so good.
Yes.
He had a great bookend trilogy. But yeah, no, I think when he started to decompose, that was part 6. And I think in part 1 where you see like him pop out of the boat,
Yeah.
I believe that was just like an hallucination, and that Pamela never like. I think my theory would be is that Pamela sheltered her son because he was different, and
Okay.
thought like kind of like a Hunchback of Notre Dame kind of situation where like, oh, they're just gonna laugh at you, they're not gonna understand you, so I'm gonna keep you safe. Like mom's gonna keep you safe,
Mhm.
and that caused her to laugh, thinking that her own like story that she came up with, that like they let my boy drown, she started to believe it. And that's when she went kind of postal on everyone.
Okay. I
So
got you.
that's what I would believe.
No,
Or
I
if I
actually,
did if I rebooted the franchise,
yeah,
that's what I would
that's how it
do.
is. Yeah, I understand. With me, I actually do believe it was also a hallucination when little Jason came out of the water.
Mm.
I do believe it was just because of this fight that she just had with Pamela, got hit over the head or something, caused that to happen.
Oh, cool.
Because also in the second part, they even kind of have an open conversation in that bar in the second part about like, what if he never really died? Um,
Mhm.
and when they said that, that kind of sold it to me that maybe he didn't. Um,
They had to have the sequel, right?
yeah, and I mean, if he really did die as a child, why does he need that cottage in the woods?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Why
Yes, his
why does he need that cottage with which is with his little altar?
little Jason shack.
Yeah, which is awesome. You can get
So
Pamela's head as a part of the Indiegogo for this film.
you can, yeah, done by Mike Lawrence, yeah.
That is so neat.
I didn't
And
know about this.
I actually thought about spending $150 because I do want the bag, the Jason mask bag, because part 2 is actually personally my favorite part.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah,
Like I don't think Sackhead Jason gets enough love.
I
Like
totally,
Sackhead Jason's so cool.
I
Um,
totally agree.
and I'm always a fan of like those minimalistic masks, like from Town That Dreaded Sundown, and
Oh
like
yeah,
the
the
Strangers and
strangers.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love it. I actually just watched Pray at Night last night,
Nice.
which with people were saying they weren't really impressed by it. I still think it's a good movie. Doesn't hold up to the original, but
Oh God,
it's
no.
it was pretty well done. I think the pool scene was the coolest scene.
Yeah, no,
I
I
thought
agree.
that was awesome, and the music that they used for it was perfect.
No, I agree, man. It's like it's so funny because horror is that one genre that like a lot of people will say like will have live up to a high standard because of films like The Witch and films like Hereditary. But I think personally, like horror is such a broad spectrum that it's really hard to make a horror movie so bad that you can't enjoy it.
Oh yeah,
Like Blumhouse pumps out like 5 horror movies a year, and even like the bad ones, I love watching.
absolutely,
Love it.
absolutely.
Like Truth or Dare, loved it. It was so much fun watching that movie.
Little, little something. I've actually never seen Truth or Dare.
Oh, watch it. It is a
Yeah.
blast. It is fine garbage, and I love it.
That is the perfect kind. I am actually so with that. You don't know how much I agree with that.
Well,
Uh,
you're talking to a massive trauma fan, so
I am completely with you on that.
hell
I'm
yeah.
a fan. But with me, it's the fact that there is good movies, and I have it in like a little category as good. And then there's movies that were enjoyable.
I agree.
And that's kind of more where I'm with it. There's a did I enjoy it? Sure. Did it keep my attention? That's a deal to me. If it kept my attention, sometimes it is a little boring. The first time I watched The Witch, I was bored out of my mind, and ended up not even paying attention to it. And then when I did pay attention to it, the story was rich, and I actually, dude, I loved it. I ended up loving it, but it took me a while.
No, it does. It's what's so funny about that movie is that when you look at the marketing campaign was straight up a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
And I remember sitting there like so excited to go see it. And the minute I sat down in my seat and the title card says this is a New England folktale, I was like, I know exactly what I'm getting into now. Boom.
Yep.
And I was there for the ride. Like
Hey, that's perfect.
and that's what
That's
a lot of
perfect.
people kind of had a problem with was that they were expecting a horror movie. They were
Yeah.
expecting that standard horror
So
movie, but this
yeah,
is like a gospel fairy tale almost.
you had two people. You had one person that was like, "This is one of the best horror movies," and then you had people that were like, "There was not one jump scare in it, and I want my money back."
Yeah.
And that's also a thing that I've had conversations with about slashers. Are they horror? Are they thriller? What makes the difference? And
Yeah.
would you say there is a difference?
I think slashers kind of hit that subgenre that mixes a little bit. Like
Okay.
in some aspects, some slashers can be torture porn movies. For instance, like Terrifier. Terrifier had a lot of torture porn elements to it.
Absolutely.
And I think like things like Halloween that can have more thriller elements. I think Black Christmas, which is regarded as one of the first slashers, has a ton of thriller elements. But I think it's just like you have the elements there, and you just kind of like mix it together in a pot, and then boom, you got slashers. You know?
Yeah, I got that. What I usually tell people with slashers is to what I have said before. I don't really hold to this. I do tell people I kind of feel like it this way, but like, don't hold me to it. But I usually say slashers when it has to do with something a little different, like supernatural type thing. Jason slasher, Freddy slasher. Michael Myers, I'm kind of on the fence because he's human but won't die, so I can't really say that's not supernatural.
That's true.
Yeah. Chucky, that is the farthest away from anything, but like it is supernatural. It has to be something.
Oh no, there totally is. I think.
But then stuff like Behind the Mask with Leslie Vernon, which I actually thought was a really cool thought for a movie.
I got the collector's edition, right? I got the Shout Factory.
Actually, speak about them. Friday the 13th. I have not. Oh my gosh. Dude, I want it so bad, and I was looking at it, but I think I'm actually giving my money to this Indiegogo.
No, I appreciate it.
I'm probably gonna get that white hoodie.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so sick.
That one is really cool, and it's like Mickey Mouse type style, and I'm about it.
I do. It reminds me of I don't know if you follow this artist, the Spicy Donut. On Instagram, there's an artist that does like a lot of the old timey kind of like Cuphead style cartoons with like horror characters.
Oh yeah, I'm about
yeah. It's really cool.
That's awesome. All right, so My Special Boy coming out in 2021,
Yeah.
January to December, one of those months in between.
Somewhere in there.
somewhere in there. And also, where can people find you on Instagram?
Yeah, so I am Deejzilla _art. So that's DEEJ Zilla ZILLA _art on Instagram. And then I just have kind of like my regular account where I post what I'm watching, what movies I got into my collection because I'm going slowly bankrupt with movies coming out. And that's
100%.
Mr. DJ Likes Movies. That is
Likes
that account.
Heck yes. So also, I think it's at My Special Boy is I think the
Yes,
Instagram for
that
it.
is the My Special Boy Instagram at My Special Boy.
And is there a Facebook? I believe there is a Facebook.
I believe there is a Facebook. Yes, there is My Special Boy. I was just on it the couple days, like yesterday.
Okay, that's perfect.
Not a couple
and
days.
since it's the month of October, do you have 5 horror movies that you would tell somebody to watch for Halloween?
Oh, this is good. Oh,
I need to ask it, especially when a person actually is into horror. I think it actually opens up a whole floodgate of different things.
All right, I got 3 off the bat right now.
Heck yeah.
So Halloween 3 because it's one of my favorite movies. I loved it enough to get it tattooed on me. The WNUF Halloween special.
Okay, I have not watched it, but I've seen it. I've seen it on Shudder, I believe.
It's on Shudder right now.
Yeah,
It's on Shudder. Trick or Treat. That is the Mike Doherty movie. You got to watch that every year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll throw in Bride of Frankenstein. That's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Okay.
And then let's go Nightmare 3. Let's go Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors. I love it.
Warriors.
I don't know if you had Shudder when they released, I think it was the first 5 Nightmare on Elm Streets. I think that's what they had on there. But they released all the Nightmare on Elm Streets onto Shudder, and that was actually the first time I watched the entire series.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just because I never really gave it a try. I was a Jason dude, and I was not going to the other side. There was no way you could take me. Basically, him being sarcastic was actually the turnoff for me. I didn't like it.
Really? Oh,
yeah, because I used to be serious all the time, and then I kind of chilled out with age. But really, I don't know. I watched it again on Shudder, and it was different for me, and I really enjoyed it. And it was like this. It was kind of like a fantasy world, but a fantasy that turns into a nightmare. And I think that's what made it so great. And it took me a while for me to actually appreciate it, but I think I did finally get there.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
That's good.
I think as far as slashers go, that is one of the most consistent franchises to date. I think the good outweighs the bad. Like, I mean, there are some stinkers in the franchise, but they definitely outweigh the bad ones. Yeah, I mean, they definitely outweigh the good ones. Oh God,
I understand that. I'm a huge Friday the 13th fan, but I can't really say they're like good.
Yeah, they're fun.
But I love them. They're fun.
Yeah, I absolutely love the franchise.
And it just reminds me of being younger and not caring about much.
Yeah.
Except for being worried about that. I don't know why. It's like I have no care in the world, so might as well put all my care in being scared I'll get killed.
Yeah, completely fair.
that's a really weird thing to be into, but hey, you start everywhere. What was the first movie that you would say got you into horror?
Oh, so I'll say my first horror movie that I ever saw was The Blair Witch Project, and I saw that right when it came out. I remember my family just got a DVD player, and my uncle would go to Blockbuster, I miss it so much. But he went to Blockbuster and he would rent DVDs and stuff, and that was one of them. And I loved it. I thought it was great. But the one that got me into it was probably House of a Thousand Corpses. It was definitely that man Sid Haig, dude. Like. Yeah. Over 400 credits that guy had. It's wild. Man,
which is actually very wild, especially for a lot of people not knowing like him other than Rob Zombie films, which I actually know a good amount. And I'm like, it's me also with a few actors. I can't really think of them off the top of my head. I thought I was going to, but I was wrong.
You good, man? Like Brad Dourif too. Like to hark back to Chucky, absolutely. Man. Brad Dourif is in was it Exorcist 3, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Lord of the Rings. Like
Exorcist 3 is one of my favorites.
It's so good. And it's so damn good.
I love that hallway scene when there's a sheep running behind. I thought that made me actually jump when I first saw that. And
It's terrifying.
when you actually jump when you're watching a horror movie, you realize that this is what it's meant to do. And I'm so glad it actually gave me that reaction.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I guess it's weird to find people that are like, when you're scared, you're having a good time, or what makes it good is if you're scared.
Yep.
But I think that's what's beautiful about it.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And I mean, that's where like horror fans like us, like that's where I'll sit there and just try to like snag up any copy of a certain horror flick. Like I collect, so I'm a format junkie. I collect different formats of horror films. So there's like one weird obscure horror movie, Frankenhooker. I own that on Blu-ray and Laserdisc because I just
Dude, that's
I like
awesome.
it. Dude, oh man, if you haven't seen that, Frankenhooker,
I have not.
that's
sounds awesome.
that's an extra credit one on the 5 list.
Dude, I love that. That sounds so good. Those are the kind of things I'm really into. Over the top things are just, they're fun. They're exactly what they are. They're fun. So I would definitely give that. I'll give that a try for sure.
Yo, if you find it.
So again, Instagrams.
Yeah, so My Special Boy.
Okay.
And that's where you're gonna find all the updates on everything My Special Boy.
Perfect.
Me, I'm at DJzilla_art.
Yep.
And Mr. DJ Likes Movies. And yeah.
Perfect. And for me, it's at Horror Spoop on Instagram. Make sure you go to this YouTube channel. Be very grateful for it. I've actually also wanted to talk to you about your art.
Yeah.
Wanted to actually be in the talks of making a new logo for Horror Spoop and seeing what you can bring up with. I would love that.
Let's go for it, man.
Perfect. So I'm going to end it like this. I am Eric Lewis. This is Horror Spoop. Thank you so much for being on this with me.
No problem. Thank you for having me, dude.
Oh, dude, it was a great time talking about cool horror movies with you.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, for you guys on YouTube and Instagram and wherever, make sure to hit a like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow this dude. And thank you so much.